Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Chartertown here, and today we're going to be talking about all of the Washington quarter varieties and errors from 1932 to 1939, and there's a lot to look for. I've got every single one that PCGS recognizes or a major grading company lists, and they're going to, as I said, make the coins worth more money. The way we'll do it is I'll have clear photos, I'll explain just what to look for, and then also give you a sense for the values based off of what the coin's condition is after you find it. So looking forward to explaining it. The only thing to keep in mind is that with the values, the market can be kind of a challenging read. It can be pretty swingy in the sense that these items are quite rare when they come up. So sometimes two people bid an item way up because they need it for their collection and there's not going to be another one on the market for a while. And then other times it's just one person interested in which it might slip through the cracks. But let's get right into the video. I've got a lot prepared and we'll start with the first one. And our first error for today is going to be the 1932 double die obverse Washington quarter. It can be kind of challenging to detect, but it's going to be mostly found on the ear of Washington. It's also in his nostril, but I wasn't able to really see it that well, so I try to show photos where I can see what they're talking about. An AU55 is $150, Mint State 63 is $250, and Mint State 65 is $1,000. So definitely a good coin to be on the lookout for. There's a more prominent double die obverse in the 1944 Washington quarter, and as is the case with a lot of these, it's going to be found a lot in the In God We Trust, huge doubling in the T and the R especially, as well as the I and the N. You can also see some separation, like a split serif or top part of the bottom of the E, and then you can also see it a little bit in the date. There's kind of doubling in the 4 and two different places that the different 3s end. And this one's going to be worth $400 in AU condition, and then $1,000 to $2,000 in the Mint State range. In 1934, there's also some different mottos, and they're not really too different in value, but I just wanted to point them out. And one of them is the light motto, where it's super, not that visible. There's a medium motto where it's kind of average, and then a heavy motto where it's pretty thick and significantly separated from the rest of the coin. And the values don't really range too differently. In Mint State, the most valuable one would be the light motto, then the heavy motto, and then the medium motto, but just figured I'd mention it. In 1934 D, there's a small d mint mark, and this is going to be found on the heavy motto, and you can see the comparison. I think it's best when you have two side by side, but it's just a smaller mint mark that's notably different from the normal one. And this one is going to be $100 in AU55, $250 in Mint State 63, and $500 in Mint State 65. In 1935, there's also a double die obverse, and this one is pretty challenging to see, but on the In God We Trust, there's some really small separation. It's quite a minor variety, and this one is worth $60 in AU and $200 in Mint State 63. Those were the only price results around. 1936, there's some very valuable double die obverses. Like normal, you can see it well in the left part of the trust. There is some separation in the D and the T, kind of all through that lettering, but it's most blatant in the IN and the TR. And then also in the Liberty, there's a little bit of separation in the bottom of the R and the tips of the T. But AU55 is a $300 fine, Mint State 63 is $1,200, and Mint State 65 is $3,000. So a significant value attached, as is the 1937 double die obverse, which you can see a little bit in the date here, in the 1, the 9, the 3, the 7, but best again in the In God We Trust, except not really in the I, more so this time all in the bottom of the trust, in the bottom of the God We, and this is all in the lower right, so the southeast part. This one's probably the most expensive, or one of the more expensive ones today. AU55 is $1,000, but the Mint State ranges get very expensive, $2,500 for a Mint State 63 and $15K for a Mint State 65. There's also a 1939 D over S Washington quarter over mint mark, and that means they originally were destined for San Francisco, or they just punched the wrong mint mark and then they re-punched them with the D this time, and you can't really see it that well. Apparently they say a marker is a little bit out of the side, kind of below the northwest top part of the D, but I think really the best place that's recognized is inside of the mint mark, and for that reason it might be easier to find when you have a more uncirculated coin. This is a $70 coin in AU55, $300 in mint state 63, and $700 in mint state 65. And our final coin of the day is another double die obverse 1939S. You can see it on the bottom of the In God We Trust. This one is a smaller spread, but you can see it on the S, on the U, and the bottom of the T, bottom of the N. There's also going to be a little bit of marker on the date where it's on the inside of the rightmost 9, and then also on the right part of the 1 and the 9, a small spread there with a bit of a split serif in the top. AU55 is a $50 coin, mint state 63 is $100, and mint state 65 is about $350. So that's everything for today. First Washington quarters, best of luck finding them.
Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and get in touch with me on my website, treasuretownYT.com, Facebook, TreasureTown, Instagram @TreasureTownYT, or Twitter @TreasureTown_YT, and I'll look forward to seeing you on some of my future vids.